All right. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome
Morning, morning.
on another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. Right now, you see two brothers. It is I. Oh, I didn't even change. Look at that. Me and Samantha. I forgot to change that. What's up, Deborah? Great morning to you. Always in the building. So, as always, I need you to share and tag somebody. We're going to talk about a very close and big topic that affects us as well as a lot of people we know. Just as Black men in America, how are we affected? Our lives and what it means. And give you the real, give you the truth about what's going down. What's up, Rollins? Great morning
Morning.
to you. Let's see, Cheryl. Great morning to you, and blessings, life evolution, Coach Lisa in the blue.
Blessings.
She said, I'm gonna just jump right on YouTube. That's what I'm talking about, Lisa. Everybody, just go on to YouTube. You already know what we're gonna do by 9:30, so just be there, so you don't miss anything. Hold on, let me bring in my special guest, Terry in the building.
Get my mic.
Hey,
All
Mother
right.
McCrory's on.
All right, here we go. Muhammad Corey in the building. Greetings. All right, so let me go ahead shoot off the intro, and then we'll be back with this dynamic topic.
But don't be the meal. When you said that, don't be the meal.
Experience is the best teacher, but truth is the Holy Spirit is the best teacher.
If you can find the straightest path to the queen that you're supposed to be with, I believe in, and she finds her straightest path to you, and I think it gets away from all those, the skeletons in the closet.
We aim for the wrong things.
Right.
We aim to make our children a good husband. We aim to make our children good wives or successful businessmen or whatever.
Right.
The aim is wrong.
Trending is not happening without curiosity. So what's driving curiosity? You understand? People that are successful, people that are effective in life are people with priorities.
That man said priorities. Yo.
That is priority. In order to effectively enunciate that word, you have to act like you're from New York.
Yes,
Priority.
So AD got that down pat then.
Priority.
Priorities.
All right. So let's get it. All right. So today I want to talk about being a Black man in America 2020, and some of our experience and things we've dealt with, and like I put it in the title, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because not all experiences is horrible, but at the same time there's always work to be done. And I know Terry's in a kind of unique position, because of where he lives. So his perspective will be somewhat different.
Yeah, you got that
right. Or at least for mine, anyway. So if anyone wants to kind of start, like, so.
Give me a question. I'm waiting.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to say, as it relates to what, right. Because when we talk about generality, it's a relative statement. Catch me on Wednesday is one thing, Friday is another.
Right.
Could be.
Right. So okay, so let's hit the hot one. So in terms of any interactions with police, right? How is that? Like in a broad span from being young to now, have you ever felt like either in the stop, or have you been, what do they call it, DWB? Have you had some of those driving while black moments? So what has been your experience as far as relating to the police, or something happens at your home or somewhere?
There we go.
Call the cops and they come, and they supposed to be taking a report of you discussing an incident, but they're looking at you like you're the suspect. Like some of those kind of situations. Like, so what is? I just had to say that because I.
Yeah.
You looking like, dude, you here to find, and And okay, but anyway, what has been those experiences? And honest, and give the honest answer, because I'm gonna give some that it shouldn't be totally surprising, but yeah, like what were those experiences like?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've had a few instances like that. I've never had a driving while black. Not yet. But if I go to a certain place here in Idaho, which is where all the rich folk live, I might get it there. But that's 3 hours away, so I don't worry about that. Now I've had some issues to where the police have come to my home, and the report was that their mother, they knew Melissa, but they didn't know Melissa was married to a black man. So when this one instance when I got police at my home, Javante had some issues with some boy at school, got beat up, went outside, told his people, "Yeah, Daddy beat me," So the neighbors called the cops. Cops came. I go outside, and the first thing they go for is a weapon. As soon as they see me walk out the front door, they grab. They're on their hip. I'm like, okay, what's this about, fellas? Like, what's going on? Oh, and some of the neighbors, and even their whole tone was different with me.
Right.
It was like, well, we had a neighbor that said that you tell us what happened. Bro, I can't tell you what happened. Only thing I know, he got his butt kicked. He came home. He was crying about it. What you want me to do? Right. Oh, well, they said, where's Javante at?
Wow.
He in the house.
Right.
But it was aggressive. They were very aggressive. They had their hands on their pistols. If I'd have moved slightly different, if I would have drew. And so I've had a couple of instances like that. Be it that I'm the one of few black men here in Idaho, in this area, I'll say that. It's always like that. In traffic, I get a look in traffic. My little car that I have a 15 Sonata, and it's got sunroof and all that. And sometimes I'll be at the light doing my thing, and it's like, he over there, you got his music too loud. I've gotten that. But that's about as far as the extent. Other than getting the crazy looks and then having the hips, a hand on the gun when they come to my house. That's it.
Have you had any experiences that weren't as bad or were better than you thought?
When I lived in Nevada, I had a run-in with a cop. I guess, and I think the reason why it wasn't such a bad situation then was because it was a smaller community and everybody was tighter knit.
Okay.
And so the cop came over, Javante.
Okay. Shout out to Javante.
Shout out to Javante. He's my problem child. I love him. He's my problem child now. And so we was living, they were younger then, and Javante he kept getting in trouble, and I just knew the cops was going to come to the house, and but he came to the house and he actually flipped the script on Javante.
Wow. Put
Javante in cuffs and put him in the back of his squad car. And so that turned out a little bit better than I thought it would. It didn't change nothing. It was still fun to see.
Gotcha.
If I could be honest. If I could be honest with you.
All right, Pastor, what about you?
I've had incidents over the years. I haven't had any recently.
Okay.
But living in Southern California, absolutely.
Wow.
We could even go to church.
Wow.
Had an incident where my mother's she was sitting in the back seat of my car. I had one of those. You remember the Grand National?
Okay.
Like, you remember the Monte Carlo SS Turbo?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So the Grand National was the competitor of
he's 11.
The SS, the Monte Carlo SS Super Sport.
Oh yeah, Super Sport. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I had was the little brother of the Grand National.
Okay. I got it.
I had a blacked out Buick Regal Turbo.
Okay.
Buick Regal Turbo.
It just wasn't the racing car.
Okay.
And my mother's in the back seat. My younger brother's in the back seat. I don't know. I'm probably 27, 28 years old. And we're driving to church, and they flip on the cherries and pull us over, and they have no reason.
Wow.
Zero. Sunday morning on our way to First AME Church, and my mother from the back seat. Why y'all pulling him over?
What's up, Cole?
Hey, what's up, Cole?
So I'm about to get snatched up because she mad because they pulling us over on the way to church.
Yeah.
So my message is to the women: just hold your peace, because you get us jacked up because you running, you mad, and I'm trying to remain calm because all I want to do is get to the other side of this. Engagement.
Whatever it is, just give me the ticket. Whatever it is, I just want to go.
You're giving them everything they need, And what I learned is that they don't even have to be white in South Central.
Right.
It's our own pulling us over, jacking us up. You want to jack me up? I got my Sunday best on. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Right.
But, and then for me, it's like being ex-military. Former military. And I'm feeling like I've served my country. I'm walking around with a sense of confidence and like I've done something. And it was just they make you feel this small.
Right.
And you wonder why we have such a chip on our shoulder.
Right.
Because of that stuff. Right. But I will tell you that outside of South Central, I've never had a situation where I felt like, well, I'll tell you, in Georgia, I did.
Okay.
I did in Georgia.
Yeah.
On the 400, heading up to Alpharetta.
Okay.
He was itching for a scratch.
Right behind you, just waiting.
Yeah. He was, and I was in a mood to try him that day. I came this close to probably being on the news, man, with my old sanctified self, because it just didn't make sense. I'm in a Suburban and he telling me I'm doing 100. I'm like, it can't even go that fast. His car's passing me and he pulls me over.
Wow.
So he was looking.
Yeah.
Because I was just coming through Sandy Springs, like exit 5 on the 400, just passing through there, and he. There's a curve. You come over this hill, and he just popped it. And so I'm sitting in my truck. Right, that's a hangout. And I'm sitting in my truck, and he comes around, and I can see his hand on his hip, and he cannot get me to rile up. So he asked for my information. Right. He got those, Ponch and John Highway Patrol sunglasses on.
Not real 911.
and he wants to give me a ticket, and I'm saying, man, I was not speeding. What are you talking about? And I said, man, I'm not signing the ticket. I said, you can't have my signature today.
Right.
I sat there, and he's like, I literally heard him say, I got one. I literally heard him say, now, Dwayne is a former police officer. You tell me, in what world do you get on your radio and say, we got one? What code, what language is that? Because I heard it.
Wow.
So he says to me, I'm going to jail that day. I said, oh, you're going to send me to jail because I won't sign the ticket.
Wow.
That's what he said. He wants to send me to jail. And I'm looking at I'm like, man, you getting late. You're going to be late to work. And I realized I had taken it too far. Because it was more important for me to get to work than to prove a point.
Right.
So I said, give it to me. And that knucklehead didn't even show up for court.
Wow.
Yeah, wow's the word there. That's
wow. Good. Okay, wait. Dwayne, the former police officer, before you share, you know what? It's 9:22. We are rolling over to YouTube.
Oh wow! Okay,
because he's about to break some stuff down in this situation, and I figured this is the time to do it. Oh yeah, my segues is on point. All right, so let's
roll that beautiful way.
I got two things I wanted. So first one is a little fundraiser for my daughter. So yes, I'm putting it here. So make sure you support, and then the next one.
Go too fast.
You said what? The link.
Put the link up. It disappears too fast.
All right, I'll fix that. Thank you, sir. All right. So I'm roll. Was it roll that beautiful bean footage?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
All right, let's go.
Hi, my name is Alexis Walker. I'm doing a fundraiser for Cotton Indian Elementary School. Click on the link below and see all the stuff we have to offer. Thanks. That's right, my dude.
All right.
She made for it.
Yeah, right. And then my next one. Hold on.
And I'm gonna put on the real money. She got to talk longer.
Right. Yeah. That's been a struggle.
Tell her she gonna get the jingle, not the soul.
Okay.
All right. So so the next one. Brother Legacy is in a point at where we're trying to expand, and we're asking for your financial support. So this is just a quick understanding of what we're doing and what we're into, and give you an opportunity to give to give into this the brotherhood of legacy. Hold on. I appreciate you supporting the Brothers of Legacy broadcast. In this space, we are in the process of expanding. And what does that mean? We have developed a financial literacy course for children. We're connecting with schools. We've got other men involved in our local programs in our community. We are ever expanding. So now we are seeking your financial support. And what does that mean? That means we are trying to get money for administrative costs, marketing, and being able to grow exponentially. But we need you to help us with that financially. And you've already helped us with us being part of the broadcast, helping us, those that are part of the community. They've helped tremendously. But now we need your financial support. So what I'm asking, if you click the link here, click that website, go to the website, check out the Brothers of Legacy. It gives you an understanding of what we're doing, as well as gives you a chance to contribute financially. You have several ways. You can go through PayPal, you can go through Cash App. Also, you can give monthly, you can give one time, however you see or feel like you should contribute into this movement. This is an opportunity for you to contribute to legacy. We are changing the narrative. So this is your opportunity to be a part of that legacy. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. Our legacy is about the building blocks we start today. So we appreciate you. We thank you. And I thank you for all the supporters that's already given. And for those that desire to give, this is your opportunity. And I'm thanking you in advance. As always, I'm excited. I'm excited for the growth. We've been at this a year and some change now. And change is going to happen. And I want you to be a part of it. So hit that link and be a part of that change.
So hit that link. Hit that link.
I want to real quick before we go any further. I'll note back in with Alexis video. Did you hear y'all hear the music in the background? The music that was playing in the background.
Yeah.
You did? Okay. So once Lexus gets up and it goes to the other screen, you hear the young man in the back go, "Get on it." That was part of the music. Did y'all catch it?
Oh, that was part of the music. I did hear that.
Yeah, that was part of the music.
That was perfect timing.
It was. It was perfect timing.
I can't take credit. That just happened. Praise God. Because I heard it. I was like, "Oh, that's right on time, right there."
Well, it's kind of like being black in America. Sometimes you got to be lucky as well as good.
I'm trying to tell you.
Right. Yes, indeed.
Right.
So listen. Oh yeah, let me put that up real quick. So Dwayne, Pass was saying,
Yes, sir.
the cop said, "I got one." Oh, can you decipher?
I can assume.
That? Okay, yes.
I'll give you my assumptions.
All right.
And here's the thing, and it has a lot of truth to it, but
yes, indeed,
it still has some excuses to it as well.
Okay.
Every cop is like everybody else you run into. You know, you got some things that are the same, and then you got a lot of those traits that they bring to the job are just who they, and it's in the Army. I know Pastor McCory understands this part. You had some master sergeant who was about 5'6", about 120 pounds, soaking wet, couldn't fight nothing, but he was in charge of everything.
Right.
And he let you know every chance that he got, he was in charge. Now, if you went to school with him, he probably was a dude that didn't have a girlfriend, or his girlfriend was like the girl that 5 other dudes really didn't want, and that was his girl. And then he probably was a dude that was on the football team,
right?
But everybody wanted to see him in the backfield on safe fits, and he get the ball and they could just smack him. He probably was that dude, because what happens when you get a little bit of authority? If you are an a-hole, excuse the French or the English in this case, if that's your type of personality, then what happens is you come through and you're amplified worse than you ever been, right? So I think part of what happens is we have cops who may have been shown up by maybe they just had a rough life. Maybe their girlfriend used to like somebody who looked like you. I don't know what it is. But when I hear we got one, that means, okay, I'm going to need some backup.
Yep.
And we got one that might act up, and we might have to put hands on him.
That's what I was thinking.
And I'm gonna give y'all the nonverbal cues of something's about to go down. Give y'all so when you get the
right when they start leaning into it, right.
16 over. And you don't hear what they saying. Right. That's because it's by design. They just said a code that you probably won't understand anyway. Right. But it's one of those that, hey, this might be one that we might need to get a little heavy with. That's number one. Number two is, just hang tight. We trying to straighten this out now. Number three is they put the gloves on. If they come with the gloves already on, they one of them people. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. But if you see them starting to slip, if they start to slip the gloves on,
right,
and then they stand back and they take the hand off the pistol, you know, because that's like it really is a thing. A lot of it's misrepresented, and we need to find a better way of doing that. But if you stand like this, I'm pissed. I guess if you stand like this, but this is like one of those comfortable places for your hand.
Okay.
But it still it gives off bad energy, so that still needs to be revisited. But when they put them gloves on,
I'm just glad Cole Sports said it. He heard that
too.
I got a witness.
Hey, look, I've never seen it in person, but whenever that we got one, come on, let's have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
All right. Well, I had to humble myself and get on to work.
Look, that was wisdom.
Right. Yes. Oh,
I hope Ashley got her sound fixed.
Right.
You heard me. I was going on to YouTube to see if there was a sound issue.
Yeah, and
I didn't have one.
Yeah.
I was reading and I was like, well, AD giving me feedback, so I was like, I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not janky today.
Oh, so have you? So with So the question, I don't know if you heard the original question. What we're talking about being a black man in America. What has your have you encountered any police situations, outside of work? And let me ask you this: have you encountered any police situations in your own, I guess, district or where you patrol?
I've not. As far as like, that's the first question most people ask me. I've never seen any. I've seen some culturally ignorant cops, but I've never seen a racial. I didn't personally, and if they did, they hit it well. And I've never seen someone being treated wrong, excessive force or anything. I'm not cut from that kind of cloth. That wouldn't have happened around me. But I worked in places where either they respected me or was scared enough of me that, okay, maybe this be problems, that they didn't do it around me, or they hit it extremely well. As far as police problems, here's the crazy thing. The only time in life I've ever had a police problem, I was going to work I worked in a rural Georgia county, and I didn't drive a patrol car home. So I'm driving our the luxury car that we had. I was driving that to work, and here's a black man in Northwest Georgia driving a Porsche at night, and I get pulled over.
Right.
I know I got pulled over, but I'm in full uniform, and I'm just like, let's see how this goes. It's gonna be interesting. And I wrote, okay, no, Pastor, they hit me with this before. I pushed the button and the window goes down.
Yeah, you didn't roll with
them. and the officer, he walks up and he gives me a look over and he says, "Have a nice day."
Wow.
That's all he says.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I pulled you over because of this or speeding or what were you thinking, officer? Nothing. Have a nice day. And he walks away. So I knew in all of my hearts I was something dark driving a luxury car in an area where a lot of people didn't look like me.
Right.
I had racial issues while I was a cop from that I detained. So there's this older white lady who's doing about 55, 58 and a 40.
Okay.
I pull her over. Now, I wasn't going to give her initially. And the reason I say this is because when it comes to in Georgia, for me to write you a ticket, I have to be certified in the types of speed detection. So whether it's laser or radar, if I'm not laser or radar certified, then I can't write you for that. So you got to know that first thing. That's number one. So I pull her over, and every situation with a police officer is tense. So I try to take every bit of tenseness out. And I was like, "Hello, my name is Officer Goodson. The reason I pulled you over is you were exceeding the posted speed limit." I was like, "Ma'am, do you have your license and registration?" And this is where it gets interesting because I could sense a tension that I did not create. And it started with, "Don't you have something better to do than to pull over old ladies?"
Right.
I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I said a mental okay. I was like, "Ma'am, the city, I'm not gonna say their name, they pay me to enforce the laws of this city, of this county, of this state." And I was like, "Unfortunately, today you broke statute 40-25, whatever it was." And I was like, "So therefore, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I need your license and registration." So I went back to the car. Like I said, at this point, I still wasn't going to write her a ticket. I was writing her a warning. So I go back to her because she had license, which is not necessarily illegal, but it gives a cop that gray area. Do I want to write a ticket? Do I want to make this a bad moment?
Right.
Or can for a teaching moment? I still decided to use it for a teaching moment. I was like, ma'am, your license expired. However, you're still in your grace period. You have 30 days to go to your local Department of Motor Vehicles, Motor Safety. I was like, you can get this renewed. And I was like, this won't be an issue. I was like, so I'm going to issue you a warning for this. Right. She snatches. She's like, and she was like, really? She was like, I guess this is just not my day, huh? I was like, I'll be right back, man. And in my mind, I'm like, it really isn't going to be your day because I was overly polite.
Right.
I was being I was using discretion to respect others, and you still treated me like you Miss Daisy and I'm Morgan Freeman.
Right.
So what ensued after that, and this has been 100% honest, not racially motivated anything. I respect everybody, so I demand it back because if instead of this being a little warning and like have drive safe today.
Right.
It ended up being a speeding ticket.
Wow.
It ended up being a ticket for an expired license.
Wow.
And in Georgia, you have a 3-inch section of your window that can be cracked and spired. Anything over 3 inches is a ticket. Well, in her windshield, she had a crack that went across the top and went right down by and she got a ticket for that.
Wow.
Right.
And then I told her to drive safely.
Right.
And
that
was the only time it was the point that I knew it was.
Okay.
Can't confirm it, but I knew it. I was one of 3 black officers working that had 3 black people.
Gotcha.
But the hours was great, and I was trying to be closer to home and work where my wife didn't have to worry as much as me being in Fulton County. So that whole it was because I was a black officer, but outside of that, being a police officer, 9 times out of 10, the white community treated me better than the black community. The white community was thank you, be safe, we're praying for you. And the black community was like, you Uncle Tom, you sell out, you cooning, and I understand. Like I get it. Right. And where I always was having a conversation with people was know me first before you lump me in. I can understand you lumping me in, but when you get a moment to see who I am, and you see that there's a difference, that's when you need to say, well, I ain't gonna say all cops bad, but I know Officer Goodson wasn't, you know, and I know a lot of people who know me who feel that way. So I felt like at least while I was there, it was a positive impact. But no, race can get. I seen nepotism. The mayor's grandson decided that he wanted to be drunk at the bar and throw his weight around. Right. And I had a conversation.
Man, I got pulled over in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and the highway patrol guy had his son in the back seat of the car.
Oh,
cruising. Wow. And look, and put me in the front seat. He took me to jail and had me in the front seat because his son was back seat.
Wait a minute now. You went to jail? What you do?
Well, I'm saying I'm on leave, right? I'm on leave. This is like I had my first child. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, and took the new baby home to see my mom. And on my way back to Fort Campbell, I took my little brother with me. I let him. He was going to come stay with me for a while. It was the summertime. He was out of school for the summer.
Oh, you was on out of Paducah.
Yeah, I was heading through Mount Vernon, and I was speeding, they had the airplanes. They was getting you from the air.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I was coming around a bend and I saw the cop over there, and he was like, "You pull over," and I pulled over. Now I got a newborn baby in the back seat. My first wife was in the back seat. My brother was in the passenger seat, and I'm driving. And I told him, I was like, "Well, listen, I'm just trying to get back. I have to sign in tonight. I'm in the military, and this is my last day of leave, and I got to sign in by midnight."
Right.
And he said, "Well, you probably shouldn't have been speeding then." And I didn't have my driver's license. I didn't have the card. Now I was from Illinois, so I had an Illinois license, but I had been to Korea, I had been to Hawaii,
Right.
So in the military, back then, your driver's license didn't expire as long as you were in the military, as long as you were active duty. So it was still active because I was active duty, but I didn't have the card on me.
Gotcha.
And so because I didn't have my card, he decided he wants to take me to jail.
Wow.
And I said, "Sir, I'm in the military." He said, "Yeah, but you don't have a driver's license." And I can't prove that. I'm like, "Look my name up,"
Right.
And my brother was on the side. My brother, he's senior in high school. He was like, "Oh, here we go."
Right.
And I said, "Listen, man, I got a 2-week-old baby, in the back seat. Can you, what? Can you give me a ticket and let me get on?" He's like, "Nah, we need to head on." So he was intentionally wanting to make it inconvenient for me. Right. And so he asked me to get out of the car. He says, "Well, your brother can drive and follow us to the jailhouse until I get this sorted out." And it just, none of it made any sense to me. And so my brother gets in the car, he drives back, and the man asked me to get in the front seat. And I'm like, "Front seat?"
Right.
In my mind, I'm like, "Where do you do that?"
Ain't that how in the heat? Ain't that how Mississippi Burning starts?
So I get in the front seat, and I look back, and I see there's a little boy in the back seat. He looked like about 12, 13 years old, and I'm like, "This is weird." So we drive to the police station, and when we pull into the police station, when we pull in, he takes out his handcuffs and said, "Here, put these on." I'm like,
"Well, at least I trust you."
I'm like, "Nah, I'm not getting ready to do that." I just told him straight. I'm like, "I'm not getting ready." I'm like, "You have me in the front. You want me to put handcuffs on, and I'm in the front seat? Right. How am I in custody and I'm in the front seat? We drive all the way from the freeway here."
Wow.
And when we get to the jailhouse, you want me to put handcuffs on? Nah,
Right.
not going to do that. So I refused to put the handcuffs on. And so I just got out of the car. We walked inside. My brother then went into the waiting room. He put me in a room, and I'm sitting there for like 2 hours, just sitting.
Figure out whether you got a valid driver's license.
Because I didn't have my driver's license on me. Wow. So he comes back in the room about 2 hours later and says, "I'm going to let you go on your own recognizance."
That was his way of saying, "I messed up and I ain't good enough to say I'm sorry."
Right.
Look, that
your revenue, yeah. That's the whole person.
What was Ashley's? That was messed up, Pastor. That was messed up.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
That happened.
Right.
That happened. Yeah. So
that's business.
Right. So
what's the next chapter? I'm gonna need his back. Yeah, that was in 1980.
Oh, if it was 1980 anything, look, he probably didn't go to the academy. He probably could hire his cousin, and they didn't need to go to the academy. They could lock you up for whatever they want to lock you up for. No, it was look, and you was in Kentucky.
Right.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what I knew about Kentucky when I was at Fort Campbell for.
No, this was Illinois, bro. This was in.
You were still in South.
Driving to Kentucky, and I was in Mount Vernon, Illinois. Just one of them
little off in that prison. The big old prison off of 70 before you hit 24.
I don't know, but I know it was right before 24. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man, yeah, that's not too far from Marion, right? Yeah, but look, I put cruise control on 5 miles under the speed limit in that area. I heard too much.
Right. They call it a speed trap. Yeah, it's a speed trap.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So Anyway,
being black in America, it has its pros and cons. It's like a lot of black stuff. Like I saw it when I was a kid. As that huge period that I was in the military, worked for the military, and then a police officer. So obviously during that time, my what I saw was different than the typical person. I mean, I saw it. I saw the news, but it wasn't something I experienced. You know, being in the Army, you're around a multicultural, multi-ethnic. Everything is different, and the communities are different than typical communities. Does profiling occurs? Yeah, but the stuff that we complain profiling to be compared to what the person in Bankhead would complain profiling to be is not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Well, I mean, so, I remember experiences where, you know, during the day we're all green, but at night separation happened.
Right.
You know, like the rednecks, and they didn't have a problem getting into it with brothers afterward. Wow. And then you go back to formation the next day and you know who's who.
Wow.
Because of what happened at the club the night before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And see, and he's like, and he was like 10 years. We trailed each other like 10 years. So I even saw an improvement on that side. It still occurred, but probably to the extent it did with them. With us, is like our first sergeant had one rule: if you get in a fight, one, you better not lose, and two, you better not let somebody in your unit get in the fight, and you want a part of it.
Yeah.
So the problems we used to see is you'd see people get into it, and other people would walk away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you knew who they were.
Right.
So Ephraim Terrell asked, you have any responsibility or obligation to understand the plight of the black man, seeing that we are Americans? Now, it's an interesting question,
right?
Because on one hand, the fact that we are all Americans, why would someone need to understand the plight of a black man?
Right. It should be end all be all.
Yeah.
Right. The reality is my skin color shouldn't matter if we're all American. Right. So that's the problem we have, is that as Americans, we're trying to get people to understand the plight of an American.
Right.
Because of the category that you have placed this American in. Right. So it's really oxymoronic that we would even have to have that type of discussion. But the reality is, yes, it's important for people to understand. I expect for people to, I think the challenge is trying to get people to empathize. You know, empathy has its hardest work when it comes to racial barriers.
Right.
Because you can empathize with someone who's lost a loved one. You can empathize with someone who's gone through a financial transition. You can empathize with someone who's gone through a divorce. You can empathize with someone who's had some domestic violence. You can empathize with someone, you know, for all these different things. But the one of the most challenging areas of empathy is as it relates to race relations.
Right.
Or at least when it comes to blacks.
Right.
So why is that? Because the entire world sees this color skin the same way.
Right.
And when it comes to, because this is color, it's not culture.
Right.
Because people look at the Jewish population differently because it's culture, not color.
Right.
True. People look at Arabs, the Arabic backgrounds differently because it's culture, not color. Muslims is culture, not color.
Culture.
Blacks is just color. We're the only ones
Ooh, that's
isolated because of the color. Has nothing to do with culture. You can go anywhere in the world and people view black folks the same way because of the color. Has nothing to do with culture. And so that's something that, you know, a lot of people, that's part of the discussion that no one's having.
Right.
You understand? They say Jews suffered. They don't say white people that were Jewish They don't say,
right.
You know, they don't say South Americans. They can categorize, Mexican and Puerto Rican, all of that, but it's culture, not color.
Right.
But
That's
for
true.
us, it's just black.
Right.
Because you're black. And what they do is they throw us all in this African American or black.
Right.
So tell me which one is culture.
Culture. Right. You're right. I think we've created another more dynamic America, like with different music and things of that nature. But you're right, it's still American music. It's still part of American culture, because even the lighter side of our culture has embraced a lot of our music as well. So it's all American music.
But the music is playing.
Yeah,
you understand? A white, you don't know who somebody is unless they're black.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You could be a black man.
Now that's a powerful statement, because you know us when we sing a song.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You know us, and so everybody else can hide behind the color of their skin. You can be Muslim and white.
Right.
And have no issues and be a terrorist.
Right.
And nobody knows, because you're not targeted because of the color of your skin.
Right.
It's not until you begin to talk that people begin to categorize you.
Right.
We don't even get a chance to speak.
Right.
Because visually we've already been counted out. We're the only species that is counted out visually before we ever even open up our mouth. And what I'm saying is, until people can understand it's to that degree, how are we ever going to get to the next level? Because I cannot change the color of my skin. Not that I want to, I refuse to change it. But I can't. True. But everybody else can slip and slide in and out and all of those types of things. And it's not until you open up your mouth that people know where you stand. But for us, that, and I think that's one of the greatest travesties globally for people with our skin color.
And that's what I was gonna say. My being black in America was because I didn't. It's a lot of things that a lot of people have experienced. I've seen it. I know it exists, and I can empathize with what I've seen.
Right.
But for me, it's I was a black person in the military. Okay, so when you 13% of the population, you get to see what 13% look like when with 200 people every day. You get to see how small 13% really looks. And then on top of that, I was an intelligence analyst, which meant an even smaller percent of that 13%. So I'm like one of three black people in my class. 2 black people in my office. I don't think I've ever worked with a section, and I don't think I've ever worked with more than 10 people in a setting, and there were more than 3 black people in the room.
Wow.
Well, I'm extremely inquisitive. I like numbers. I like stats. I like history. So I love my job. So I was better than average. And I rose to the top. I made staff sergeant in 6 years. I was in charge of several shops where people would come in and they would look for whoever's in charge and look right past me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was a norm for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I would have people who come in and look at the people that I'm mentoring and go to them and ask them questions. At first, I had a problem with it. I had a big chip on my shoulder. And then laughing, I was like, all roads lead back to Goody anyway. So you're gonna have to come back over here. Go on over there. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? I ain't saying, but in my head, that's what I was feeling. I literally had to be twice as good.
Right.
And then I was in combat arms unit, a smart black dude in a combat arms unit, in an airborne unit, and I was
right.
So for PT, I had to smoke them running push-ups and doing sit-ups in the obstacle course and anything else we did, because now I'm only a black dude, but now I'm a third black dude, and I'm in a combat arms unit. So I had to be like, look, hold on, don't I came from the hood. Don't get it twisted. I can just change my vernacular every night. That's the only difference. But that was my experience. We have to work twice as hard to get the same recognition, and sometimes harder than that. And not even.
I thank God for favor. You know,
right.
I will tell you that God's favor is real. It has been real in my life and on my life. That's just, I cannot explain how I got here, except that it is the grace of God. I go back to when I first got into the IT industry, man, and I remember when I became an engineer, and I would support like salespeople. So salespeople would have these clients, and they bring me in to engineer their IT solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I remember one instance where, and this happened several times, but one particular instance where I was with the VP of my company, working in Illinois, and we went to visit Moss School District, somewhere in Illinois. And we walked in. Now, I had been talking to these people on the phone. I've been talking to the IT director. I've talked to the director of information services. And we show up to the meeting, and they had their IT staff in the room. And me and this white VP, Greg, walk in. They walk us in, and the director of IS walks right up to Greg and says, "You must be Brian." And he goes, "No, I'm actually Greg Gonda. That's Brian." He goes, "That's Brian? Oh, hey, so you're who I've been talking to?" "Yes, it is. That's me." He's like, "Wow." And I mean, like
not bad for a black guy.
Yeah. And I mean, it was so that happened, right? Yeah. I also remember being here in Georgia and going with one of my friends, this guy, a sales guy he lived in Nashville. And so we had to meet in Kentucky. We want to see one of the hospitals in Kentucky. Can't remember which hospital it was. And I did not speak to these folks. I just went to support him. And they were talking about some next generation technology. And so we sit down at the table, we do all the introductions and everything. And the client starts talking about, in IT, they start talking about what they like to be able to do with their data.
Okay.
So we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do this and that. Right. And then my sales rep looks at me, because like we always make eye contact when we say, okay, it's time to go to the whiteboard and draw it out. You get to a point in the meeting where you got to begin drawing it out. Right. And that's why they bring engineers or architects. And so he looks at me, he's like, whiteboard time. So I get up from the table and I walk over to the whiteboard and I start drawing out what they're talking about.
Right.
And dude, I turn around and I said, "Is this what you're talking about?" And I put this whole scheme up there, and their jaws, they're like, and they look at each other, they're like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about." Dude, and when we got out of that meeting, my friend Brad Markham, never forget, he looked at me, he goes, "Now I understand." Right. You've been trying to tell me. He's like, "Man," he said, "Man, that was," and man, that was insane. Did you see the looks on their faces when you got done drawing? I'm like, that's my world, man.
Right.
They couldn't believe it, man. It was hilarious. It was
Right. And you just
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How did it get to that point? I mean, I understand that people like to subjugate you to their version of history, but how did it get to that point? Because slave owners knew what their slaves were capable of. That's why they fought so hard to keep them. They knew what they were skilled at. They knew what inventions they were creating that they eventually got paid off of. But so what is that? Where does it come from?
It's power. right? They want to be able to direct you to do it.
Right.
I want you to go do this.
Right.
And the thing is, if they didn't teach you that, they never expect for you to know it. Right. So when you go into a room with people who weren't there to watch you train, they can't believe you understand it.
Yep.
You got to see it. I mean,
no. I'm talking about going back further.
Right.
I'm talking about going back further to like post plantation, right after plantation. I mean, I understand it's power, but how can you get to the point where you see what a race is capable, but then
Joe Nacho, former CEO of Quest Communications, I'll never forget this. He was on stage back in like 2003. We were at a national meeting, and he said this. We were in Denver, I believe. He said, telecom is like making sausage. He said, you don't want to know what goes in it. All that you care about is that it tastes good. And what you're talking about is a lot of people never care about how you were able to figure it out.
Right.
They see the end result and they're satisfied. If they ever took time to watch you figure it out, that's the amazing part. They're not amazed at what you did.
Right.
The amazement comes in how you figured it out, and no one ever pays attention to that. They tell you, go build me a house, and it better work. It better hold me.
Right.
You understand? But they're not there to be impressed by your skill in measuring and cutting and angles and all of that. All they want to know, because if it ain't right, it's going to be me and you.
I mean, I also think, back in the day, they used to, all the studies, the false studies about our being inferior and why we can't do this or we can't do that, or we're incapable of this. And then, so then then we become the Barack Obamas, the inventor. They become the anomalies, so, like, oh, he's just a rare one, or they end up in Harvard, like Pastor said, like they taught us he was in Harvard. That's the only reason he's as great as he is, but they don't realize before I got there, I already knew this stuff. I was already great. I just figured out your system. And now, so
that just made me think about something when you said that. Man, I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden.
Right.
And it's crazy because you just said something that made me think they might fix this election. And I don't like to do political conspiracy theories. But when you was talking about Harvard and Yale and Princeton and that,
right,
I was like, is it Kamala or Kamala?
Kamala. I feel like I keep messing the name up.
She went to Howard.
Yeah. Right.
Look,
right. So
Senator Harris went to Howard.
Yes.
I don't ever been anything in the White House lore that has anything to do with like a Howard or a major, just a regular public university like Duke.
Right.
Or they smart too, but I ain't never seen a president from anything other than Yale, Princeton, or Harvard, or
right.
That they might try to keep up out of there because of Howard.
Because of Howard. Well, listen. I'll just say this election of Trump just showed that anybody, absolutely anybody, can be president. Oh, so I he ain't never been to Harvard. He's probably been to Harvard Street. He probably drove by Harvard.
Did he graduate high school? I know he tried to say he had a college or university one time, but he paid for that and it flopped.
He created one and gave himself a degree. But
it flopped, though, didn't it? It wasn't accredited, was it?
Right. I don't know. I don't think so. That whole
his
mess.
College?
Yeah, his college. Yeah, I think he called it a university, but I don't think it was accredited. I doubt it. Oh,
like,
but
give me a job. I graduated your first class.
Right.
No, I don't trust you.
No. Oh man! All right, so we're gonna get out of here. Oh, we definitely gonna do a part 2 because there's some we can get a little deeper into this. But yeah, I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging out on YouTube. If you've not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we come on. We're on every single day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we definitely appreciate you coming through and commenting and sharing in the conversation. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we're going to continue the same conversation about, kind of what have our dealings been in America. We're going to talk about jobs, and Pastor started talking about, and yeah, there's some definite stories about that. Oh, listen, I might even have my wife on because she's had several where they just, oh yeah, we can't wait to meet you till you come down and have a conversation, and they're excited till she shows up. Right. She said it's like clockwork. Their whole demeanor changes as soon as she walks through the door, and because they're like, she's like, listen, on the phone, I was hired. They were ready. They just need to sit down and just have a quick combo with me, But once I got there, it's like everything changed. So we're going to talk about that as well. All right. So I appreciate you rocking with us. And listen, if you did not watch Purposeful Forever last night, we had the McNairs on. And they really did an awesome job breaking down the blended family and the attitude. We didn't even know about it until we started the conversation, and the challenges that they were met with and how they overcame them and handled them. The baby mama issues and things like that. And honestly, it's some of the best answers I've heard ever. And it was really a really great conversation. So if you've not checked it out, make sure you go check out Purposeful Forever. And that is it. So I appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us. As always, you spent the time with us, and we do not take it for granted, because you could have been watching a plethora of things on between Netflix, Hulu, cable, the internet, YouTube, but you hung out with us. So I don't take it for granted. All right. So as always, we appreciate you, and always know that Brothers of Legacy loves you, but God loves you more. So we will see you tomorrow. So take care, guys. Peace out. Be safe.